Hello everybody, Zack Spider Films here, and today I am going to review Spider-Man: Legend of the Spider Clan. And it's a 5-issue miniseries set in the Marvel Mangaverse. And the only reason I bought it is because Spider-Man was a ninja, and I thought it would be a good comic because he's a ninja and that's just awesome. This is not a good comic. I reread it today for this review, but of course it's not as good. I mean, it's better than I remember, but it is still bad. The suit revolved, most of the story revolves around the Green Goblin and the Black Suit, and by most of it, I mean all of it. And Spider-Man has to get rid of the Black Suit because it's affecting him, of course, as per usual. But the twist is, it's making him kill people, but he killed people anyway. Yeah, he actually just kills people. He doesn't even bother to put his costume on. He just ends up killing people at times. Like here. There was a lot of people killing each other who don't normally kill people in the 616 universe. Like, Daredevil cuts Felicia Hardy in half. He cuts a lot of people in half, actually. And Daredevil actually stabbed Peter Parker, but the Black Suit saved him. Which doesn't make much sense. So I don't get why he had to get rid of the Black Suit if he was doing these things anyway. And it's hard to care about most of the characters in this, because they're all doing unsympathetic things. Peter's killing people. Daredevil's killing people. Like, all the good guys kill people. The supporting characters are all complete jerks. Except Felicia. And at the end, he ends up with Mary Jane, which I guess we're supposed to like, since we like doing the 616 universe. But since she was only really in, like, 10 or less panels, it's hard to care about her. I mean, only for all we know, in this universe, she could be a total jerk. But there are some interesting ideas that are presented in this, and some characters who are just changed from the 616 universe to funny things, but I'll get into the interesting ideas first. I like that there was a entire, since this is ninjas, there's gotta be ninja clans, because that's just the thing. So, Venom is the head of a whole clan, and it's the Shadow Clan, so it's like a giant clan of, how many times can I say clan, of black-suited spider ninjas who kill people. Wow. Catchphrase of this review, that kill people and clan. On a more serious note, Venom kills himself, saying that Peter saved him once and he's just making it so it's even. It kind of came out of left field for me. In case you've read this comic, please contact me and tell me where that came from, because to me it just came out of nowhere. But there was a good amount of foreshadowing, and it is kind of just like 616 but ninja. Well, except for Dr. Octavius, he's a high school teacher. So, Harry Osborn is on drugs like his regular counterpart, and of course, in the last issue, we find out that he is actually on drugs like his regular counterpart. But before that, there was foreshadowing in the form of, he's acting weird lately. I guess if you know what you're talking about, you might pick up on it, but if you don't, you're not gonna get any idea what's going on. It's like, oh, he's acting weird lately. That we need to know that. Here's the Daredevil design. He kills people. The art in this book, in my opinion, is terrible. Everyone has like really stupid heads, I think. And I don't like the way he draws the spider people. I mean, I like the way that Peter Parker is drawn. Heck, I like the way that the spider people are drawn in general. Just when their heads are at when the spider people's heads are at angles, heck, when people's head in general are at angles, they tend to have really oddly shaped heads. By oddly shaped, I mean their heads are square. Don't see that? This sounds like a freaking rectangle. Now, I don't know about you, but my head doesn't look like that. Does your head look like that? Square? Well, rectangle. Square would be Minecraft. But that's just me nitpicking the art. The art in this is... action's good. Everything else is generally bad. I don't like the way that they draw people's heads. They look really caricatured, which I guess makes sense for this, but I really don't care. As bad as that sounds. When people have like rectangles for heads and stuff like that, and and it looks like, and I'm sure that this is the manga-verse, this is something with Japanese stuff in general, but I don't like it when it looks like Peter Parker has to spend like 5 hours gelling his hair. I just thought it was kind of funny that Venom was the only guy in the Shadow Clan that didn't have a mask. He had face paint. That's it. And I also think the whole venomous arrow thing is kind of hokey. Because apparently when Venom was a baby, he got shot by an arrow that had poisonous spider venom on it. First off, if you... and it was like right here. If you were a baby, and you were shot with an arrow with poison in the chest, I think you would die. If you think you wouldn't die, please tell me. All in all, don't pick this up. Oh, and you know how Daredevil cuts Black Cat in half? She becomes this like cyborg thing. It's weird. Actually, that's a good way to describe most of this comic. Weird. I honestly would not suggest picking this up. Unless you think all the stuff that I just can't get my head around and I think it's really weird is good, then by all means pick this up. By far, I think one of the best moments in the comic is the 2-page spread where we first get to see Spider-Man. I like the way that the artist draws the red suit of Spider-Man. Despite the problems which have been previously described with rectangle head. And he's really not that much of a ninja. He doesn't hide in the shadows. He'll just run in and start killing people. Spider-Man shouldn't do that. Heck, none of the ninjas in this are really stealthy except for the Venom clan. And that's when Daredevil started walking into their place. I guess in this one he's called Devil Hunter, but we can all tell that he's supposed to be Daredevil. He starts walking into this place, so they just come out, since it's in the sewers, they just come out of the sewer and just come out in the water right behind him, and then Daredevil just cuts them all in half. That fast. So all in all, this is a bad comic. I don't care about any other characters. Except Uncle Ben Sensei, he's pretty funny. We all have common sense. When your sensei blindfolds you and is carrying around a big stick, you know you're probably going to get hit. Best moment in the comic. I don't care about any of the characters, essentially, except Uncle Ben. And... actually, yeah, that's the only character I care about in this. And he's already dead and visiting Peter in dream sequences. So, yeah, I do not suggest picking this up. at all. And I know I spent a good chunk of time talking about the art, but what I described as the story is the story. He gets the black suit, which is an amulet apparently, a magic amulet. Daredevil cuts Felicia in half. He just comes out of nowhere and cuts Felicia in half. Peter Parker suddenly gets the black suit and starts killing people left and right. And then he ends up in the Shadow Clan, where he passes the initiation and is sleeping in a sewer with a bunch of shadow ninjas of Venom. And Daredevil comes and decides that he's going to kill all of them and stabs Peter, but the black suit saves him somehow. Then all of a sudden the good ninjas start coming in and fighting the shadow ninja. And then Peter Parker just grabs one by the face and starts about to pummel their face in. And he's about to pummel their faces in. And then we find out that that ninja was Aunt May. So instead of killing her, he just punches through the wall and everyone escapes. And then he pulled off the amulet, even though pulling off the amulet is supposed to kill you. He lives. Venom sacrifices his life force to save Peter, well, because he can. He said he owed Peter for something, I don't know what. And then Peter gets his red and blue suit back, and he goes and fights the Green Goblin, and he's getting his butt kicked, and then he finally figures out how to use spider sense, and then a wall is blown up, and then we find out Harry Osborn's on drugs. The Goblin just immediately gives up. The end. Happy ending. Felicia leaves, and Peter Parker ends up with Mary Jane. That is the entire comic book, and it sucks. So the main complaint I have with the Mary Jane thing is that we didn't get to know, so we honestly don't care that he's ending up with Mary Jane. But I don't recommend this at all. I think I've driven this point home. And I will see you tomorrow with a different comic book review. Maybe it'll still be Spider-Man. Maybe it won't be. You'll have to wait to find out. And as you can see, I'm getting back to the daily video format. So, see you tomorrow.